your favorite, man. It's Trev and I'm here with another video today. And yes, I'm gonna be giving you guys some tips and advice for how to get through nursing school. This is a burning question for people who are interested in nursing, people who are in the application process, and people who are about to start. Fall is around the corner, so people that's going to be starting their first semester of nursing school is coming real soon, so I feel like it was an appropriate video to make. So I'm going to give you guys my personal tips and advice and what I think you should do or put into consideration when it comes to getting through nursing school, because it's dense. It's not easy. It's a rigorous program. It's no joke. Anybody that went through nursing school will tell you that they worked their butts off to get through it. So, anything helps. I'm pretty sure any advice that anybody could get, it'll help at least a little bit. So before I even get into it, I say it every video. You know what you gotta do. Like and subscribe for me. All right. So my first tip is to sacrifice your social life, man. We getting straight to it. We come like the gates, guns blazing. My personal experiences is probably a little bit skewed because I did an accelerated BSN program, which is very compact. So you kind of do have to sacrifice your social life to an extent. And I worked while I was in it. So I definitely didn't have a social life. I didn't have time for it between work, clinicals, studying, and classes. There wasn't enough time in a day to have an active social life. So my friends will literally tell you that they didn't see me, So for me, this is something that I took very seriously. And I'm not somebody who didn't have a social life. I had a pretty fruitful social life, Like my dating life was fine. There was no problems there. I have a lot of friends, a lot of fraternity bros. I'm part of different things. I was always going to events. So this is something that I took very, very serious. Like I went cold turkey with it. I didn't have a life at all. I just dedicated it all to school and work. But that's what the accelerated BSN program. I'm sure for people that's maybe doing an associate's degree program or your traditional BSN, you have some wiggle room when it comes to this piece of advice, because if you're in a traditional BSN program, maybe you're taking 2 nursing classes and maybe some other liberal arts courses or elective. So you have some wiggle room when it comes to that. So yeah, but even if you're in a traditional BSN program or whatever route that you end up taking to get to the finish line, these courses are difficult. Like med-surg is difficult, pharmacology is difficult, like having to go to class and then go to clinicals, that's difficult, So to an extent, if you have like a fruitful social life, if you're somebody that's always out there, you're doing things, you're gonna have to sacrifice at least a little bit of it, It's like you can't I don't even know what to say because it's so obvious. Like you literally just have to do that if you want to get through it, School cost, if you fail, you're still paying for that class. If you're in an accelerated BSN program and you decelerate, you have to pay for school again when you take that class over. So, I wasn't playing because, I don't play about the money. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody else in the country doesn't play about their money. When it comes time for rent, when it comes time for mortgage, electricity bills, phone bills, everybody takes their money, no questions asked. Sally Mae taking the money the same time every month, no questions asked. So if everybody else doesn't play with their money, you can't play with yours, So if you decide to go to nursing school and then you're making this investment, because it is investment, school's not free for us. It's not free. You understand? So if you make a commitment and make this investment, do what you got to do and get through the program, because you're going to be wasting money. My next tip is to figure out your learning style and stick with it, You could be visual, auditory, you could be a little mix of, be a hybrid. The reason why I say this is because, if you get into a nursing program, first off, chances are you're somebody who's bright, The nursing programs are pretty competitive depending on where you're at, and you need requirements. You need the grades, you need certain grades for your prereqs, you need good recommendations. So chances are you're a bright person, and especially if you're doing a traditional BSN program or you're doing an associate's program, you just came straight out of high school. You don't have any more schooling besides high school. And if you're a bright person, you probably didn't have to study that much when you were in high school. Like I know me, I thought I knew how to study, even with somebody who had a bachelor's already, and I really didn't. I didn't learn how to study until I got to nursing school, because nursing school is going to force you to. There's so much information, so many things you have to learn in such a short amount of time that you actually have to figure out your nursing style. I say your nursing style, excuse me, your learning style, and go with that, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to, you know, grasp all the information, and it's not going to translate when it's time for you to take your exams, and then you know how that goes. It's a downward spiral. You're going to be struggling through school, failing exams, blah, 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 blah. We're not going to talk about that because we focus on positivity. You're going to get through nursing school if you are going to it. So yeah, figure out your learning style, stick with it. There's like little, you could Google learning style or something like that, and they have these little tests that are like 10 minutes long, and it'll tell you, like, you know, how do you study, you know. So there's so many things you could do. You could be like, you know, taking notes. There's like so many good YouTube videos out there, like, you know, there's diagrams. So once you figure out your style, there's definitely some resources out there for you, and then, you know, maximize your potential and then do what you gotta do to get your grades. My next tip is to complete practice questions. Man, I can't tell you how important this is. I don't know if I should have made it the last tip or the first tip, because to me this is probably the most important. This is what got me through nursing school, is the practice questions, and this is more so for med-surg. Depending on what program you're going to, there could be med-surg 1 and 2, there could be med-surg 1, 2, and 3. And this is the core of nursing. Not to say like the other, like health assessment and pharmacology are least important, but this is like the core of nursing, you know. This is where you're gonna be learning about the different diagnoses. This is where you're gonna learn how to assess them on a certain level, different interventions, things of that nature. And a lot of the questions on the NCLEX are things that you're gonna be learning throughout med-surg. Like, you know, there's gonna be pharmacology, health assessment questions, but the bulk of them is med-surg type questions. And yeah, you gotta do a lot of practice questions. If you're going to a school that has a high NCLEX rate, NCLEX passing rate, I should say, chances are that regular questions for the exam are like formed kind of like NCLEX questions. You understand what I'm saying? So when you're doing a lot of practice questions, you're gonna get a good hold on how to pass the NCLEX in the end. But first and foremost, you want to like get the grades for med-surg. You understand what I'm saying? Another reason why you want to take a lot of practice questions is because nursing exams are different from anything that you've probably taken before, unless you were in nursing school prior. A big reason that that's the case is because on nursing exams we have a type of question called select all that applies. So with these questions, you get a scenario most likely, and maybe instead of 4 options, there's 5 options, and there's multiple right answers. So like you can get a scenario and they'll tell you 5 different things, or 5 different options, or, you know, whatever, 5 different answers I should say, and 3 of them could be right, 4 of them could be right, 2 of them could be right, all 5 could be right. Like literally, like you can have a question where you pick all 5 of the options. So this is very, very, like, you know, intimidating for somebody that never did this before, because you're programmed from like elementary up until this point to pick one, and now you're being told that 2 of them could be the answer, 3 of them could be the answer, and it's tough. This is like, you know, you have to actually know the information. There's no guessing it. You can't say, okay, these 2 sound right, because if it's 3, you get it wrong. There's no partial credit. So if there was 4 answers and you pick 3, you don't get partial credit. You get the question wrong. So, you know, just getting used to this type of test taking is gonna take time. So if you're just studying the info and you're not doing a lot of practice questions, I'm gonna be honest, in my opinion, I think you're wasting your time. You have to do a lot of practice questions. Kill yourself in practice questions. That's what I did, and that's how I got through the program. So if you want to listen to me, you're gonna do a lot of practice questions throughout them. Look for ask your teachers for resources that you can use. Look for some online. Look for NCLEX style practice questions, you know, and just get used to taking a lot of practice questions. You gotta take them, and whatever, like let's say your test coming up is on I don't know, the GI system, whatever, learn about like Crohn's disease and all this other stuff. Take a lot of practice questions to the subject that you're about to get a test on, and there's a good chance that you might see something very similar, and it's gonna help you with the getting the knowledge as well. My next tip is to develop a study group. Having a study group is key. You can't do this alone. I mean, you could try, if you're a superstar, shiner, or whatever, see if you can, but to me, when you're in nursing school, it's almost like a fraternity or sorority almost. It's like you guys are the only ones that know what you guys are going through, and you become a family because you guys are all doing the same things. Nobody's really going out that much. Everyone's busy studying, so you might as well make a group because different people are gonna contribute different things. Like I know in my study group, I was a person that always found the questions. I was good at finding questions. I was resourceful. I always found older students because like I'm just a social guy, so I knew a lot of people. So I always found the questions. We had somebody that always found good videos. We had this there was one girl in my group. She was great at typing. Like she typed so fast and she was so diligent that she would send out like study guides because she caught every single word that the professor said. So having a study group is good because you guys are gonna bounce off each other. You guys are gonna use each other to like in the end grasp the information and do well in your exam. So trying to do it by yourself is not really the smartest option. If you ask me, there's no point in trying to do it by yourself. Even if you're not gonna be with your study group every day and it's like you study with them maybe once out of the week, no big deal. That one time out the week, they might give you some clues. They might find some mnemonics. They might give you a little tip that you weren't thinking about. So it just makes sense to make it a group effort. Multiple heads, multiple brains is better than one most of the time. So get a study group, make it a little easier for yourself, and you should be good. So my fifth and my last tip is just to find a comfortable place to study. Like I've touched on so many times already, when you're in nursing school, you're gonna be studying a lot. So you might as well find some place that's like your little spot, your little go-to, someplace where you're comfortable and that you would go and get your work done. Because I know with me, I'm a person of routine. So it's like when I study in somewhere new, like let's say I went somewhere for the weekend, I tried to study, it wasn't as efficient as like, when I was in my room or in the library, my certain nook of the library where I used to be at, it was never as efficient. So, it's just like, when you're in nursing school, it's funny. When you're in nursing school, it's like literally studying is just like sleeping, and you don't like sleep somewhere new every night. I mean, everybody's circumstances is different, but if it can be helped, you don't sleep somewhere new every night. You go to your bed and you sleep because sometimes you need to do often. You need to do it every day. Nursing school, maybe you won't study every single day, but you're going to be studying more times than not. So you might as well find that comfortable go-to place where you could really sit, get right, and then really grasp the information and get the knowledge base that you need to pass your exams. So yeah, guys, those are my tips for how to get through nursing school. Nursing students out there, please comment, let me know if these end up helping you. There's nothing that I enjoy more than me giving somebody some advice and they tell me like, yo, thanks a lot, like it really helped. It makes my heart happy for real. So hopefully these tips will help you. Anybody that's interested in nursing, maybe you could look back to this video maybe 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whenever you start your journey, and then it could end up helping you too. All right, so that's what it is. Y'all stay cool till the next video.